Okay, so chapter 9 is distributed database. So we're going to look on this distributed database. Okay, so for the learning outcome for this chapter 9, okay, we are written 5 points here. Okay, so the outcomes would be okay, all of you guys must be able to describe the characteristic of distributed database environments. Number two, you must be able to explain, right, strategies and options for distributed database design. Number three, all of you must be able to discuss data replication and partitioning. Number four, all of you must be able to discuss the query processing in distributed databases. And the last one is all of you must be able to describe distributed concurrency problem. Okay, so these are the learning outcomes. Okay, that we have to achieve. Okay, by the end of the chapter 9. Right. So let's take a look at the next slide. Okay, distributed database. Okay, so a logically interrelated collection of shared data. Okay, and a description of this data. So physically distributed over a computer network. Okay, so if we look at this diagram, okay, you can see that the database is located on a different site. Okay, site one they have their own database, site two also they have their own database, site three they don't have the database, and site four they have their own database. And all these sites are connected through a network. Okay, so you can see this point of view is stated that a given site may have a local copy of all, part or none of a particular database. Here, like number three, they have nothing. Over here, they don't have any database. Site one, site two, and site three, they do have the database, and also they will have their own local copy. Okay, so their own site. Okay, then those who site two and site four, they have their own local copy. Okay, so let's say like a site one, okay, they want to go through their own database service will be no problem at all. Okay, what I mean with no problem at all because they don't have to go through to the network and to get connected to the other DB on the other side. Okay? Just to look at their own database, they have their own local copy. Okay? Unless site one are going to look at database in site 4 or site 2. Okay, so they have to go through this network. Okay. So what are the downsides of connecting to a network or reach to this database? Okay. One of the downsides is just the speed. Okay. The network speed. Okay. If it's good, then there will be no problem in getting all the database from the site 2. Okay. But if there's a problem, okay, let's say the network down, okay, then you are not able to get to the database. Okay. But for this site one, because for their own database, okay, if they want to query anything from its own database, okay, then it will be no problem if the network is down. Okay. And for site 3, of course, they have no choice, they don't have any database, okay, they rely on site 1, site 2, and site 4, okay, to connect to the database. Okay. So if network down, so site 3, you have to problem, okay, in getting into the database. Okay. So let's take a look at the second slide. Okay, centralized database. Okay, so centralized database is a database that is located, stored, and maintained in a single location. Okay. In a single location of the system. Okay, so what does it mean with this one? Centralized all the sites. Okay, okay, just take an example of this network. Okay, only one site has the database. You need to say those sites are the main site. Okay, all the database is stored there. Okay, that is what it means by centralized database. Okay, and maintained in a single location. This one. Okay, see on this. Like over here, the database one, database two, all inside this central site of this Chicago. Okay. For San Francisco site, Los Angeles, Atlanta, and network, they have to go through a network to get included at the site. Okay. And that is centralized database. And now let's take a look at the distributed database. Okay. These are the keywords, okay, that you have created. Okay. So distributed databases, okay, is something like this one. Okay. So they are communicate with a network to mean that all of these sites are connected to a network. So means that they are able to communicate. Okay. So let's take a look at the employee, the project, the works on. Okay. For San Francisco, they will store their own employees. Okay, the project also for San Francisco has worked on San Francisco. Okay, all the hotels including San Francisco site. Okay, and for this San Francisco, okay, they have another one which is Los Angeles. Okay, the employee they have put it in the database in San Francisco and Los Angeles. For the employees only. Okay, so the project is only for San Francisco and only works on for San Francisco employees. Okay, because info other than San Francisco, except for this one employee, okay, they insert a Los Angeles employee also. Okay. So this Los Angeles, okay, when you look at this information, they are insert the data of Los Angeles. So the project that include San Francisco. Okay. And on the road on only Los Angeles. For New York, you see employees only New York. The project it includes all the sites, okay? San Francisco, Los Angeles, Atlanta, all yeah, yes, listed everything. And looks on and new to New York. Okay, so these are the database for them. Okay, and then for Atlanta, they only insert the data for Atlanta. Okay, employees, the project, work on all for this site. Okay. And when you look at the Chicago, the headquarters, all the information, all the data in this San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, Atlanta, everything is here in Chicago. And you look at all of these things, okay? The database that they do have is their own database. Okay, their own database. Okay, let's say New York, these are their database. Okay? And they will have no problem if the communication network is down, okay, they will have no problem in query of all these databases. Okay? Unless they want to look at San Francisco, Los Angeles, etc., they have to go through with the communication. Okay? If no communication, then these are the things that we are able to see again. This database. Okay? So these are their local database. Okay? Alright, so let's move to the next slide. Okay, database to DBMS. Alright, hold on, so I'm going to cross a little while. Hold on, everyone. Stop the presentation first. A little while, okay? Alright, okay. So advantages of the DDTMS. Okay, distributed database management system. Okay, so we look at some advantage. Okay, so the advantage will be okay, it will increase the reliability and availability. Okay, even if a component fail, a distributed system will continue to function at some reduced level. So meaning to say, if component at some reduced level, meaning to say, okay, it can operate within their site only. Okay, it says that even if a component fail, okay, component fail here means the network fail. Okay, and so they are still able to continue with their work, okay, or their own database, their locally. Okay, to say yeah, local control of the data. So each site controls its own data, security, logging, and recovery. So the user, okay, can access non-local data when needed. Okay. What is mean is, okay, so let's say the San Francisco want to look at the network to the New York, okay, so they are able to get into this database, okay, look at the New York database. If they want to do, so if they want to query something, okay. But normally, what happens, okay, uh, this site only work on their own database, okay, and not all the time they are going to connect to this database, not all the time, okay. So that's why it says here, okay, we just access non-local data when needed, okay, when needed only. Okay, and modular growth. Okay, easier and more economical to add another computer and data to a distributed network. Okay, now, how does it become easy? Okay, easier meaning to say again, the central store is that add more staff, add more employees. Okay, all they need to do is just to focus on their own database. Okay, and automatically all in this updated database will go through to this communication network and go to the employees. Okay, they will update here, okay, automatically. Okay, so they don't have to worry to add for employees from New York or Atlanta and Los Angeles. Okay, they just update their own database. Okay, that's no easy. So they don't have to look at it. Okay, unless you only have one database, okay, using a solution, just you need to work to all the site database. Okay, so low communication cost. Okay, so data located closer to their point of use. Okay, so the point of use meaning to say, okay, is this one. Okay, so this is called a Los Angeles and Rio. Okay. Again, they don't have to go through to the network communication because all their data is in their own database. Because the data is a lower communication cost. It doesn't require much cost to do this one, to do a market. Okay? So just you don't rely much on the network. Okay? Anything you want to update, their own database, so they have to do this by their own. Okay? So the different code is locally or in Chapr and system side. Okay? Here, you have to go to communication and get to the headquarters where everything is placed there, centralized database. Okay? Then, what does it mean with the lower cost communication is, okay, you need to upgrade your bandwidth speed to connection. If it's not, then everything will be slow. Okay? Because all of these sites have to go through to this focus to the center. Okay? So when the communication network becomes slow, okay, people will get frustrated. So when frustrated, okay, work cannot be done because they're too slow. Okay? And when it's too slow, okay, we want to upgrade the speed, everything which will cost money. Okay? And it's not easy actually to create a network of this. Okay? You need to liaise with an ISP. Okay? Not a simple internet connection able to do this one. Okay? It is not an internet connection. You can get confused with internet connection and WAN connection. This is WAN connection, one area network connection. Doesn't it does not mean internet for this connection. Okay? So faster response was second queries. Okay? Data located closer to the point of use. It is not in San Francisco, okay, so that to query their own database it will be faster and easy because the database is located at the site. Okay? And they do not have to go through the network connection and the site is not good. If the network slow, the network down, okay, you are not able to query. Okay? So that's the advantages of distributed database. Okay? The disadvantage of distributed database. Okay? Let's take a look at this one. Okay? Software cost and complexity. Okay? It is not easy, okay, to set up the database, distributed database. Okay, because the software need to be, how to say, need to be equal, okay, with the other side. Okay, other side, okay, San Francisco, we're using software A for database, Los Angeles, we're using software B, New York, we're using software C, this one, we're using software D. Different software, different cost. Okay, and to communicate between different software is not that easy. Okay, and the processing overhead to ensure proper coordination among data and the site. Okay, yes, now the each of these sites, okay, if you are using the same software, then it will be okay, no problem. But the thing is, okay, software is not that cheap. Okay, if San Francisco can, let's say, this San Francisco can afford to get a better software, and New York, Atlanta, and Los Angeles are not able to afford those good software. They just use a user software like that. Okay, what happens is to do the integration and to connect with other software, different software, it will be not easy. Okay, and this processing overhead means also, okay, also means okay, the coordination, okay, and how to make them able to communicate because they are using different software, okay, according to their budget. Okay, they have their own budget, so if they can afford that, so they can get high-end software. But high-end and middle-end software or low-end software, for them to communicate is not that easy because they are not from the same vendor. Okay. But we can say some people using Microsoft Excel, the other one using Oracle, the other one using other database. And they have their own language. Okay? So in order to do all those kind of things to make them able to understand each other, that one will be a problem. Okay? Okay? That's why it's a difficult process about data. Okay? Data integrity exposure. Okay? Harder to ensure the integrity because of the increased complexity and need for coordination among data at the same site. Okay? And so this is now the processing of the data. Okay? Data integrity exposure. Because they are using different software, different vendors. So your data is being exposed. Okay? Three different vendors. If let's say they are using three different vendors. Okay, one vendor then nanti okay lah. Okay. Slower response for certain failures. Okay, if data are not distributed properly, not located close to the point of use. Okay. Slower response for certain failures is by using the network. Okay. Anything happen, the network, okay, it can follow your response. Okay, query. So that is the advantages of distributed database. Okay, so now let's take a look at the homogeneous database management system and heterogeneous database management system. Okay, so we're going to continue this after 5 minutes of break. Okay, so take a break for a while, take 5 minutes, then we continue. Okay, so I'm going to start applying for system. So let's take a break everyone. So we continue with this part of database management system. Alright, let's continue with the lecture. Okay, so let's continue with this one. Okay, types of distributed database. Okay, they are homogeneous distributed database and heterogeneous distributed database. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so homogeneous distributed database. Okay, so for this one, all sites use the same EDMS product. Mentioned before, the software that you're using for homogeneous distributed database are all the same. Okay? So the underlying operating system can be a mixture of Linux, Windows, or Linux. Okay, the operating system. Okay, and it is much easier to design and make. And approach provides the incremental growth and allow increased performance. Okay, these are the homogeneous distributed database. So you can see them here. Okay, all the sites are using. Okay, not all the sites. So when you look at site one, if they are using Unix as an operating system, site 4 and site 5 they are using Windows operating system, and site 3 and 2 they are using Linux system. But notice on this database, okay, they are using the same database product, okay, which is Oracle based picture. Okay, and this one thing you can see. Okay, let's take a look at the next slide. Okay, so heterogeneous. Okay, site may run different DNS products with a different data model. Okay, so it occurs when sites have implemented their own databases and integration is considered later. Okay. And the translation required to allow for different hardware and for different database products. Okay, so we need a translation, like I said, in order for them to communicate, okay, mainly the translation because they are talking they're talking in different language. Okay, now the typical person for this one is using a gateway. Okay, it converts the language and model of each different DBMS database management system into the language and model of the relational system. Okay, look at this one. Okay, doesn't matter if the operating system that you're using, but when you look at the database here, some of them are using object oriented, information, object, DBMS, or some of that stuff. Okay, and let's take a look at the next page. Okay, fragmentation or partitioning. Okay, so relation may be divided into a number of sub-relations, which are then individual. Application, the application that is copy, okay, copy of fragment may be maintained at several sites. Okay, and with allocation, okay, so each fragment is stored at site with optimal distribution. Okay, so maybe some example of a distributed database of going through just now on the early slide. Okay, everything is the same. Okay, so types of fragmentation or partitioning. Okay, there is a horizontal, vertical, and combination. So when you say combination of horizontal and vertical together. Okay, when you look at the horizontal fragmentation partitioning, okay, different rows of table distributed to a different site. The other one is vertical fragmentation, different columns of table distributed to different sites. Or combination both of this one. Okay. So horizontal is a row, vertical will be the column. Okay. So it will be this one. Okay. So these are the row, and these are the vertical. Okay. Row or horizontal, column or vertical. And mixed fragmentation we can handle this one. Okay. One, two, three, one, two. So this one is vertical, this one is horizontal, this one is horizontal, and this one is vertical. Okay, vertical, 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 and one is the horizontal. Okay, so we look at this horizontal segmentation. Okay, horizontal will be the row. Okay, so this is the project table. Okay, and we look at this one. Okay, project with budget below 200,000. Okay, so project table number 2, project with budget more or equal with 200,000. Okay, so when we do on this one horizontal segmentation, they will this application, okay, row by row, okay. So we can put on this one is 150,000, okay, 150,000, and close this, and this, okay, number one and number two row. Okay. And of course, for the second one, we will click on use three row, okay, one, two, and three. So we look at the vertical. When it's vertical, okay, information about the project budget. Okay, so we just look at the budget. So we just put one column or one vertical column. Going to information about the project name, include the name. Okay. This one information about project name and location. So they just list out project name and location. Okay, so this is vertical. Okay. Recommendations are similar. Okay. So the advantages, okay, the data store close to where it is used, okay, the means efficiency. And the local access optimization, okay, better performance. And that's local use. Okay. Only relevant data is available with resource security purposes. Convenient across partitioning, okay, so the ease is very. Okay, example is this one, okay, accessing data across partition, okay, inconsistent access. Okay, we have problem with the access with the key yang able to access. Okay, and no data replication means there is no data. Okay, there is no data in this one. Okay, data replication. Okay, we look at this data replication. Okay, types of data replication. Okay, there are push replication and pull replication. Okay, so push replication is updating the site send changes to the site. Okay, so we have got here site 1, site 2, and 3. So we have A1, A2, and S1. S2, and this site 2, they have both site replication. Okay, this is the way they have it. Okay, so pull replication receiving site control and update messages in each process. And synchronization is less disruptive and occurs only when needed by each site. Okay, so that is a pull replication. Okay, so let's take a look at the push replication again. That's not replication, okay, or push replication. Okay, it will generally be used when the data changes are infrequent. Okay, so changes periodically sent to the master site. Okay, and then master collect updates in a snapshot log. Snapshot, okay, not a picture, okay, but it's similar to a picture. Okay, but this stands for computer. Okay, snapshot indicator is saved for that particular time. Yeah, okay. Okay. But the snapshot is sent to each site where there is a copy. Okay, and then the push replication or the near real-time replication. Okay. needed in an environment with new real-time requirements. Okay, uh, broadcast updates without requiring information. Okay, it's done through use of triggers. Okay, so alternatively, update messages store in the message queue until process button is issued itself. Okay, so snapshot. Okay, you can relate this one like system response. Okay, you can relate with the system response. Okay, so you can pinpoint and protect the snapshot with this last last book data lah. Okay, before anything happens. So when you are real-time here, if you can so every time there is a update to it automatically duplicate. Yeah. Unless because fast update without requiring confirmation, it means that there will be a time when it will update automatically. Yeah. So issue for the data replication. Okay, the data timeliness. Okay. High tolerance of out-of-date data may be required. Okay. Under the network communication capabilities, okay, to complete refresh place heavy demand on home telecommunication. So just let keep on replicate the data. Okay, data replication is the same. In your capability is push. Okay. So all the replication now. Okay. So the performance implication, okay, refreshing may cause performance problems for beginners. Beginners need to say and there's a lot thing coming in coming out from that particular database. Okay, and then the network heterogeneity. Okay, the application can be complicated if you cannot use different OS and database management system. And the database management system capabilities. Okay, if the DBMS cannot support the multi queries, the application may be necessary. Okay, so these are the issues for the data application. Let's move to the next page. Type of push replication. Let's look at the formula. Yeah. So in terms of this data replication, when you look at your video, what it is the reliability. Okay, how reliability because yeah, the data are safe. Okay, and then fast response. Okay, each site that has a full copy and process queries locally. So they have access this two when they want to query on this DC on this one, they have a full copy of the one. So they can query more faster. So everything is still copy to their own site. Okay? And may avoid an difficult distributed transaction integrity routines. Okay? Like this, many updates on Thursday, okay? When this cycle going to going to query on here, okay? It will not actually query on here, like okay? It is query on here copy paste. Okay? So it will not require any changes here. Okay? So whenever this one is done, the update, then the issue okay. How the couples know? Here comes section for C. Even some nodes are down, okay. So there are no coordination across the network. So there are no problem with this one. Okay, with network problem. So this doing by the own. Okay. Reduce network traffic at the current time. So this update can be made. During the high traffic, so normally it's an afternoon, okay. Normally in the afternoon, that way, a lot of people think work for their work, okay. So, yeah. The first time, okay, by doing data replication, it may reduce your network traffic. Instead, you're able to get to those database easy. And to say, easy enough to Okay, the advantages of this one, okay, additional requirements of storage, what we need for storage, okay, because we're going to replicate, okay, we're going to replicate the whole data. If it's only 1 megabyte, it should be okay now. But 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, we need an additional storage, okay, to store this. So it's kind of like a mirror here. And the thing you are here, let's say, 1 tera, then you need 1 tera. This is a mirroring process. Okay. So additional time for update operation, okay, complexity and cost of everything, and integrity exposure of different important data is complicated, data is not updated simultaneously. Okay. Therefore, here, okay, it's like a better when used for non-volatile data. Non-volatile data means it's a data that are not able to be erased or read only. Okay, read only means it's not able to do anything except read only the data. You're not able to write, you're not able to do anything. Okay, you're not able to modify anything. Okay, so there are four alternative strategies regarding replacement of the data. Okay, it is centralized having conditions, complete replication or selective replication. And then the alternative strategy to achieve is the locality of reference. Okay, and improve the reliability and availability. So we should improve the performance to improve the performance of semiconductor devices. Okay, different device can improve the performance. Okay? And then the balance storage capacities on the core. Okay, and then minimal communication cost. Okay, to minimal the communication cost, of course, we need to do everything in local. Alright. Okay. Make our room small. Yeah, here. Okay, so data allocation, so we will look at the centralized partition, the computation, and selective replication. So for centralized consists of single database, okay, and the database is stored at one site with user distributed across the network. And partition, okay, database partition into disjoint fragment, each fragment assigned to one site. Okay. So so they all fragment, responsible, they all things like that. And then the complete application consists of maintaining complete copy of database and each site. Okay. Complete application, everything, instruction store, loss control, network timing, everything needs to be accomplished. Okay. And the selective application is a combination of partition, replication, and centralization. Okay, let me just take something store or something something from for no repetition. Okay. Instead of complete repetition, compare to another one. Okay, so complete repetition, we just pick something from the store, let's engineer something and medium and combine it together. Alright. So this is the comparison of strategies for data distribution. Okay. So we look at the locality of reference. Okay, for centralized, it will be lowest. Okay, fragmented high. The complete replication is highest. Selective replication is high. Okay, these are the locality of references. So you can look at this fragment. After will be high, which is indicate subject to good design. Okay, and repeat repetition. So reliability and availability for centralized system will be the fragmented, low for endpoint and high for the system. Good and complete replication is what is the highest. Okay, for the reliability. Collective replication is low for endpoint and high for system. And for the performance centralized means that that's everything is in one. And for this particular these are the best format of it. So complete replication is only best for it. Selective replication, yes, that is the theory. For the storage cost, so we can see the complete replication is the highest. Just replicate the one. Selective only selected item will be replicated. So communication cost, each one will be the highest because everything going to the control. Second, third will be the low cost communication because it's for B. And for the complete application, high for an update, low for it. Okay? So update because it's required like that. Okay, okay, that is good. Be update for it because it's only for it when third party is not get high. Okay, and the solid state application is going to communication cost will be low. Just this only take the select, pick one. Okay. Alright, so distributed query processing. Okay. So I think for this one, I think we will continue this number three for chapter 9 by next week. I think just need to get ready with the presentation for group 2. Okay. So group 2, I need you guys to get ready because in 10 minutes then we're going to start with the presentation. Okay, so let's take a break. Okay, while group two is yeah preparing for the presentation. Okay, all right, group two. So I need you guys to get ready. Okay, so by 10:15, then you guys can start ready. Group three, just stand by. Okay, see whether we are able to continue or not. Okay, if we have enough time. All right. So we'll continue at 10:15. Okay. So group two, please get ready. Alright, so 10:15, group 2, are you guys ready with the presentation? Alright, okay. So if you guys ready, then you guys may start. Only two of you or three?
Hello. So, hi, Sensei, sir, and everyone else, my classmate. So,
Hold,
my group.
there's an echo. Can you turn off one of the speakers?
Hello.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah. Okay. Hi everyone. So my group, group two, uh, my group consists of Wong Ep Hao, Suzoya Nathan, and me myself. Are going to present our assignment, which is the pet clinic management system. So for this pet clinic management system, we have chosen is Sabah Animal Care Center, which has been established since the year of 2020, which has offered outstanding medical and surgical services for different kinds of pets, ranging from dogs to geckos with reasonable prices. And the veterinarians at Sabah Animal Care Center are trained to handle pet tantrums skillfully with their utmost care. With their immensely high reputation, Sabah Animal Care Center has now opened its fifth branch. As Sabah Animal Care Center is going to expand to more locations, Sabah Animal Care Center faces a problem that is all the branches are still using traditional methods in recording their data, and in rare occasions that is wrongly recorded by staff, which causes appointments to be wrongly scheduled. So to prevent this from happening in the future, Sabah Animal Care Center has requested a company to develop a database to better manage the data. So a group of three senior programmers, which are assigned by the company, to develop the database for Sabah Animal Care Center. So this is our ERD diagram. As you can see, there are few entities which are pet, owner, medicine, supplier, prescription, appointment, branch, checkup, veterinarian, and invoices. So now I'll move on to the data definition. Uh, so I'll present my SQL Plus. So first, I'm going to create the owner table, and we had actually made some constraint, which is the to check the owner age if it's above 18, and the owner gender, and also the owner phone number, and as well as the owner email, it doesn't which only accepts one A for the email. And next would be the uh, pet table. For the pet table, uh, we have created some few variables which are pet ID, pet name, pet type, pet description, pet date of birth, gender, and the owner ID, and primary key, which is pet ID, foreign key, owner ID, and also which reference to the owner. And next is the branch table, which has also made some constraint for the email to check if it's a valid email. Next is the appointment table, supplier, medicine table, create the veterinarian, up description, and lastly the invoice table. So after all tables has been created, I'm going to insert the records into each table. Owner table, we have inserted 10 records, which are 10 owners. And for pet, there are 20 records of pet data. And next is the branch, there are 5 branches. And next is the appointment table, which consists of 30 appointments for this pet clinic. And there are 10 suppliers, 20 medicine records, and 5 veterinarian, the checkup, and there are 29 prescriptions. And lastly, there are 30 invoices created in data. So next I'm going to present my query. So my query, I'm in charge of listing to list the top 10 most used medicines in the Sabah Animal Medical Center. So the purpose of this query is to actually list the top 10 most used medicine by patients, where the top management can resupply more of the medication product. So I'm going to copy my query. As you can see, as I created, this is a sample of the query. So this is all the medicines which are the top 10 most used from the top to bottom. And next, I'm going to present the next query, which is to list the owner details upon their upcoming appointments. And the purpose of this query is to list owner contact details to remind them of their upcoming appointments from the current date, which is today, the 13th of April 2022. So as you can see that these are the data. So these are the data which are happening this month, which is especially which the query is to identify that this month is April, so it will list all the upcoming appointments from starting from today, which is 15th of April, 16, 18, 20, which are this month's and this year, so that they can remind the owner's appointment. And for my next query is to list the owner details and appointed veterinarians and details for emergency appointment services. So the purpose of this query is to list the owner details and appointed veterinarians and detail for emergency appointment services. And this shall allow the front desk staff to follow up the owner's pet's condition, which are in the emergency appointment services. So as you can see, this is the data for the types of appointment which are emergency. And this is all the owner details, the appointment date, and the owner details to follow up for the front desk staff to follow up the owner's detail to let them know like how is the pet condition. And next I'll proceed to the my first procedure, which is to validate the medication expiry date, because there are a lot of medication which consists of expiry date, and this to validate the expiry date which still can be used from this date onwards. So first I'm going to create a function which is to check the date from today onwards, which is using the sysdate to compare the expiry date. And I'll create the procedure. So as I created procedure, and now I will execute the procedure. So this is the expired medicines for the type of medicines which are capsules, and today's date is 13th of April, so they'll validate the expired medicines which can be thrown and not be used anymore, and will not add to their prescriptions which needed to be used. So the next procedure is to add a new appointment for a new pet appointment, and by adding the new pet appointment, it will we will actually create a sequence to increment the appointment ID, and also uh, the appointment will actually validate the type of appointment status inserted in the appointment. So first, I'm going to create a function which to check the appointment status. But so they only can actually put walk in, appointed, and urgent. And next is the sequence and also the procedure. So next, I'll execute a, a appointment, which is a pet ID, which is for this, and also the branch ID, the type of appointment, and this is the appointment description, the date of appointment, time, and also the appointment status, which is appointed. So as I already execute, there is a new appointment has been added for this pet name for Earl, and the owner name, which is this Muhammad Ali bin Azmin, and with phone number of this. So so now we can check the appointment if it has been added into the table. So as you can see that the new appointment, which is which we have added just now, has been inserted into the table. And next we'll check uh, the next appointment which you can add, which is the appointment status is urgent. And after that, the appointment status urgent also can be added. And then maybe let's try another one which we use a invalid status, which is attention. So we cannot add this appointment because it is a invalid appointment status, which you only can use walk-in or appointed and urgent. And the status will become booked after being added into the appointment. So next I'm going to present my trigger, which is to validate the medicine entry for expiry date, because when we add medicine, because there are expiry date which we sometimes we're not sure if it's past today's date. So after if it's and the expiry after the expiry date has passed the current date, the value shall not be inserted to the table. So I'm going to execute. So after I created my trigger, and so I'll insert one medicine value, which is the date has been over, which has been passed from today's date, and there will be a error message which it says that the medication product has expired. So to re-enter a valid expired date. So the next trigger I'm going to present is to validate the prescription required quantity. And the purpose of this trigger is to validate a new prescription entry to ensure that the medicine is sufficient to be requested. So I'm going to trigger, and now I'm going to list so I'm going to list the current total quantity of for this medicine. There are 48 quantity right now. So and now I'm going to insert a prescription which I'll need three quantity for this medicine. So after that, it has been inserted already, and now maybe we can check if the quantity is successfully updated. So for now, there are 45 already. So it has been subtracted to 3, as there are 3 medicines used for this the three quantity there are three quantity needed to be used for this medicine, and now we check an insufficient required quantity, let's say maybe 50, and we cannot insert this prescription because it has returns more than the requested number of the rows, which is 45. So this cannot be inserted. And now I'm going to present my report, my first report, which is to display the medicine which soon to be expired. So the purpose for this report is to display the medicine which soon to be expired based on the specified dead range which will be given. So first I'm going to execute procedure and execute the procedure, and I'm going to give a dead range from the 15th of February 2022 to 13th of March 2023. So this is all the medicine which will be valid uh since from 15th of February 2022 till the 13th of March 2023. And next I'm going to present the report which the total profit made from invoices. So the purpose of this report is to produce a report where it shall display the overall report of total invoices being made to calculate the profit being made from the pet clinic. So as you can see, this is the procedure, and this is the total profit made for this month of February. I mean the April, and this is all the invoices which has been calculated, and this is the total invoices for this month and total invoices generated, which are 6 invoices. And next, the last report, which is to display the invoice of specific branch report. And the purpose of this report is to display a list of invoice generated and the total amount of a specified branch made based on the branch ID. So I'll create the procedure, and this is the branch invoice list for branch ID 2, and this is the for Putatan, and this and list all the branch information, brief information of it, and this is all the invoice which has been generated by that branch, and the total invoice generated, which is this amount total, and yeah, this is the the report. And now I'll pass the time to Nathan to present his next query.
So now I'm going to present my screen. So for my first query, it is to list all appointments by the vet and, and owner contacts. The purpose of this is to list all owners that has been approved by the vet. This is also to allow the front desk staff to remind the owner upon their appointment. So now I will show my query. So I get my query first. So as you can see, these are all the owner information that's been appointed by the vets. So next I will show my next query, query 2. So this to display medicine that they are less than 20 by the specific supplier. The purpose of this is to list the medicine there's a total quantity less than 20, where top management will know which medicine are running out of stock so they can contact the supplier to restock. So now I will get my query. So as you can see, uh, it shows the medicine that are less than 20. So for the third query, my third query is to list all branches information with the appointments met. The purpose of this is to list each branch information with the total appointment met. This to allow top management to evaluate if they are required to upgrade their equipment and tools to attract more customers. So now I will get my query. So as you can see, these are all the branch and the address are shown. It also shows the phone number and the email, and it shows the total appointments met for each branch. So next, I will show my procedure. So for this procedure is to update the status once appointment is completed. The purpose of this is to get appointment ID to update the owner appointment status as completed after an appointment has been done. So now I will get my procedure. So I've created a procedure. Now I will execute the procedure with a specific appointment ID, that is AP0002. So as you can see, this is the result. It shows the appointment ID, the name, description, date, time, owner name, pet name, branch name. Yeah, and it is completed as it is shown here. So next, I will show my procedure, my second procedure. So for my second procedure is to generate new invoice. The purpose of this is to generate a new invoice with the checkup ID provided. So now I will get my procedure. So I've created a procedure. Now I will execute the procedure. So as you can see, I've inserted the procedure. It will show the required medicine, the quantity needed, the checkup ID, and the price. So for my first, so now I will show my trigger. My first trigger, that is to validate the input for the appointment date. The purpose of this is to validate the entry appointment to prevent owner from making appointment on specific dates that are public holiday. So now I will get the trigger. So I've created a trigger. Now I will test the trigger by inserting a wrong input. So as you can see, you are not allowed to make an appointment on public holidays because I give a wrong date. So for my second trigger, is to validate the input for email address. The purpose of this is to validate the email address for owners to comply with the format of an email. So then we'll get the trigger for my second trigger. So as you can see, I inserted an invalid email format, and it will show the email format is wrong. So next I will show my report. For my first report, it is to display the veterinarian performance status. The purpose of this is to display all the veterinarians information, the total checkup met, and the total prescription given. The purpose of this is to evaluate the performance of the veterinarians and to make business decision on why certain vets have more checkup than others. So I will get the record. So I've created the record. Then now I will call the report. So as you can see, it shows each veterinarian information. For example, the vet ID, vet name, phone number, email address, specialty, total checkup count, total prescription count. So as you can see, the second vet has the most checkup, and the management will do business decision on why the others are so low. So for my second report is to see the checkup met according to each veterinarians. The purpose of this is to display all veterinarians according to the pets they have been checked up with. This report is to help the desk staff to assign the pet to the same veterinarian that they are checked up with, and the prescription given to the veterinarians on their next visit. So now I will insert the code. So now I will call the report. So as you can see, the vet ID. So for each vet, we can know what are the checkups that's been met. So you can see the 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 first vet, they have a total checkup of 5. So for the second, it has 13. The third one, it has 4. The fourth one, we have 4, and the fifth one, we have also 4. So now we show my last report. So for my last report is to display the medicine specification. This to display medicine specification and the medicine used in specific checkup according to the given medicine ID. So now I will make the procedure. And now I will call the procedure. So I have given a specific medicine ID. So now we can see. So we can see the medicine ID, medicine name, medicine type, and the medicine that has been supplied, the supplier name, the contact number, is the checkup ID, and the total amount of medicine that have been used. So next I will show the user-defined function. The purpose of this is to validate the input data that is cancelled or add. This user-defined function has been used in procedure 2 4.3.5. So that's all. I will pass it to Wong.
So for my first query, it is to list contact details according to upcoming appointments. The purpose of this is to list all medicine products which have already expired, which that allows front desk staff to temporarily stop including them into medication prescriptions. It also displays the supplier details so staff can contact them to restock. So first I'll add the query. Then to test this, I'll select all from the view. For the next query, it is to list owner that has more than one pet. The purpose of this is to list owners that own more than one pets, where top management can offer a special discount through the email and phone number. So for the second query, I'll run the second query. To test this, I'll select all from the view. For my third query, it is to list vets that has more than 3 checkups in February 2020. So for the purpose of this is to list veterinarians which have more than 3 checkups in February 2020, where the top management can add bonus pay to that vet. So for this, I'll add the query. This displays the vets that has more than 3 checkups in February 2020. So for my first procedure, it requires it requires 2 user defined function. So let's add the first user defined function in order to work. This is the first user defined function. The second one has already been added, so I'll create the procedure. The first procedure is to add prescription and update medicine quantity, where it creates a new prescription and updates the quantity of the current medicines that are in stock. So for the first procedure, before adding the procedure, I'll select the medicine. So the total quantity for medicine with med ID 0005, I mean 005 has 44 in total. To run the procedure, I'll have to add a sequence first. The sequence for the procedure. I forgot to add the other another function. This procedure, I'll add the checkup ID and the med ID. So the quantity available is 44, which is the usage. It displays the new prescription and the medicine name. And to test whether it reduces the number, you can select the total quantity from the medicine just now. It has reduced to 39. So for the next procedure, it is to update appointment status for cancellation, where the purpose is to update the appointment status if a customer wishes to cancel or reschedule the appointment by providing the appointment ID and the status to either cancel or reschedule. For the second procedure, the procedure. The initial description of this appointment ID is booked, whereas after I execute the procedure to change it to cancel, it displays the information where the appointment for the pet name, Biscuit, a rabbit, of owner and phone number has changed from booked to cancelled. So to test this, I'll select the description again. It's been changed to cancelled. So for the next one, I'll display the trigger. With the trigger, one, the purpose is to validate a new entry of vet specialty to be only inserted with medicine or surgery. So to test this, I'll insert data which has a wrong vet specialty. It displays an error message where the specialty should be either medicine or surgery. For the next trigger, the purpose of the next trigger is to validate the update entry of pet gender to be either male or female, which is a character M or F. The next trigger to test this, I'll update pet and set gender to ML, which is an invalid character. It displays an error message where the pet gender should be M for male or F for female. For the report one, it displays appointment details report. It is to display all the appointments that have been made by an owner based on their owner ID. For report one, is the appointment details report for appointment ID 0001. For the next report, it is to display pets with the same sickness. The purpose of this is to display a list of pets that has the same sickness by searching based on the specific sickness. For report 2, it displays the pet sickness, which is with the pets with sickness ACL repair. So for the third report, it is to display all animals according to their visit times. The purpose of this is to display a list of animals that are listed according to the number of times they visited. Vets can use this data as a factor to determine whether stronger medicines are required for the pets. So for report 3, this will execute the report. It displays all the animals according to their visit times, like the appointments made. Next, I'll present the sequence, which is an extra effort. For the sequence, I'll add a sequence which is for the invoice table, the generate invoice video. To test this sequence, I'll insert. Before that, I'll select all from invoice. Current invoice ID is 29, whereas to test this, I'll insert a new invoice. And the invoice ID will continue to invoice 30. I think that is it for our presentation.
All right, thank you. Wow, thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you, Nathan. Okay, so you did a good presentation. Okay, but before we end with this presentation, okay, I need to ask on the floor, is there any question you guys want to ask from group two? Is there any question from you guys? No question, okay. Uh, okay, group two, I just would like to ask, okay, are you doing this for one branch only or for all the branches? Or you focus on only one department? I want to say you focus on one branch only. Is it?
All the 5 branches.
Yeah,
All the five branches.
the five branches.
Yeah,
Ah, okay. So all the five branches. Okay. Okay. Five branches. So yeah, five branches. Anything else? Yeah. Okay, so actually I have no problem with you guys. Okay, all you did was good. Okay, you put extra effort on it. Okay, actually the report can be more. Actually, you can put a bit more on the report. Okay, like who's presenting the one who look for the how many times they're going for medical checkup in a month? Is it you, Nathan? Are you the one who did the we look for the, I think, query, okay, for those who are sending the pet more than 3 or 4 times a day, okay, in a month. Is it you, Nathan? No, it isn't.
this is it. Display all animals according to their visit times.
No, in a month. See how many
In
times
a
you're
month.
visiting. I think it's not you. I think it's Wong.
In a month. Yeah.
You think this is doing? I don't know whether it's query or not. I think it's wrong. I think because we're looking for
List the vets that has more
yeah.
than 3 checkups in February.
Yeah. Is that you,
Oh,
Wong?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait, I'll
Okay.
present my
Can
screen
you?
again.
Okay.
This one, right?
Yes, because when we have more than three checkup. Yeah. Oh, so okay, okay, okay. So these are the list of vegetarian. Okay. I thought it's a list of pets. Okay. Other than this one, what query do you have? This is query number three, is it?
Yeah.
Query number three?
Two is list owner that has more than one pet.
No, pet. Query number one?
Number one, list contact details according to the upcoming appointments.
Oh, so you have only three queries, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. I thought the query number three is the same pet going for checkup in a month. I thought that one.
Checkup. Let me check.
Take a look at yeah. Is there,
Oh, this one based on owner ID.
34 all appointment.
This is display pets with the same
Ah,
sickness.
okay, okay. These are the report. So let's take a look at the report number two. Report number two.
Report number two.
Is that pet with the same sickness report? Okay, so this one is going to display the same sickness. Okay. So I think the query. Your trigger, take a look at your trigger.
Trigger. Trigger number one. Validate entry of vet specialty.
Not this one. Trigger number two.
Validate pet gender.
This one. I think not the trigger. And yeah, I think I missed look just now. Okay, I think it's in the query. Okay. I thought we were going to list the head just now.
List.
Okay, I think I know I have a question for you.
Okay.
So anyone can answer that? List of status of an appointment.
Sorry, sir. Can you repeat the question?
Alright, no. Okay, Noel is asking you, okay, in the chat box you can see over there, okay? He is asking what are the list of status of an appointment?
List of status of an appointment.
Oh, the list of status for our appointment is book, walk-in, appointed by vet, and urgent. So as you can see, this is our appointment status. I mean appointment. We have book, walk-in, and so for as we group by, so this is all the appointment status in our booking.
So only book, walk-in, appointed by vet, or urgent. Check that
Yeah.
both. Right? So far, for me, everything is good. Okay, no problem. Okay, no
And
problem.
if they enter like a wrong status, yeah, it'll display an error message.
Okay, so is there any question from you guys on the floor? If no, then I believe, yeah, that's all for it. Okay, thank you. Book number two. Okay, well done. You're doing a good job. Okay, so yeah, before, okay, I need to ask you guys because this coming Friday we're not having class and we are going to replace this class. Okay. So I need confirmation from you guys. Okay, because there are two groups here. Okay. So when are you guys able to replace the class? Wednesday? Wednesday will be okay, not for today. Okay, for Friday, this coming Friday will be no class. Okay. So our class on the next Wednesday. If everyone agree, then I'm okay. I'm no problem. Okay. If some of you guys have class, then I cannot put it on the board. Okay. So how everyone? Okay. So yeah. I'll let you guys think about it first. Okay. So anything, just let me know in the WhatsApp group. Okay? It can by this week. Okay. We need to do a confirmation. All right. Yeah. Nothing else. I think that's all for today. Thank you for the presentation. So next class, please get ready to number 3. All right. Thank you, everyone. You're welcome.